Marcus Holbrook's name appeared on Forbes lists, business magazines, and financial news tickers with reliable frequency. At 42 years old, he had built Holbrook Technologies from a garage startup into a multi-billion-dollar empire that touched everything from cloud infrastructure to artificial intelligence. His Chicago penthouse occupied the top 3 floors of a building he owned outright. His car collection filled a private garage. His art collection required its own insurance policy. But none of it mattered anymore. 7 months ago, his wife Isabella died in a hospital room overlooking Lake Michigan, her hand growing cold in his while machines beeped their final warnings. Eclampsia, the doctors said, a sudden spike in blood pressure during labor that sent her body into seizures. They saved the baby. They couldn't save her. Marcus stood in that hospital room afterward, holding his newborn daughter Lily for the first time, and felt absolutely nothing. Not joy, not love, just a vast, echoing emptiness where his heart used to be. The doctors called Lily a miracle. She weighed barely 5 pounds, arrived 6 weeks early, and spent her first month in the NICU fighting to breathe on her own. Multiple specialists examined her, neonatologists, pediatric neurologists, feeding specialists. The prognosis shifted weekly. Some days they said she'd be fine. Other days, they warned about developmental delays, feeding difficulties, potential complications that might emerge later. Marcus hired the best care money could buy and disappeared into his work. He couldn't look at Lily without seeing Isabella's face, couldn't hold her without remembering the choice he never got to make: save the mother or save the child. The doctors made it for him. Isabella made it for him before she even went into labor, signing papers that said if anything went wrong, save the baby first. So he worked. 80-hour weeks became 90, then 100. He took calls at midnight, flew to Singapore for meetings. He could have handled over video, acquired companies he didn't need just to have something to think about besides the nursery down the hall. The penthouse became a mausoleum of wealth. Isabella's piano sat untouched, dust gathering on the keys. Her books remained on the nightstand, bookmarks still in place. Her perfume bottles stood in perfect rows on her vanity, exactly as she left them. And in the nursery, baby Lily cried and cried and cried. Marcus installed the cameras 3 weeks after Isabella's funeral. Not because he wanted to watch his daughter. He could barely force himself to enter the nursery for 5 minutes before grief choked him, but because he'd already fired 3 nannies and needed to know why none of them lasted. The first nanny, Candace, seemed perfect during the interview. Pediatric nursing degree, stellar references, warm smile. She lasted 11 days before Marcus came home to find her boyfriend sleeping on his couch, eating food from his refrigerator, scrolling through his smart TV. When confronted, Candace claimed he was just visiting. Security footage showed he'd been there for 3 days straight. The second nanny, Jennifer, lasted 2 weeks. She posted photos of Lily on her personal Instagram with captions like, "My gorgeous baby girl," and "Being a rich mom is exhausting, lol." When Marcus discovered his daughter's face plastered across social media with geotags pointing directly to his address, he terminated her immediately. The third nanny, Paulette, seemed more professional, older, experienced, no social media presence. She lasted almost a month before the housekeeper reported that expensive jewelry kept disappearing. Marcus checked the footage and watched Paulette slip Isabella's diamond bracelet into her purse, then return the next day for matching earrings. After Paulette, Marcus stopped trusting his own judgment. He contracted a private security firm to install cameras in every room except the bathrooms. Motion sensors, encrypted feeds, facial recognition software that alerted him if anyone unauthorized entered the penthouse. He could access everything from his phone, every angle, every room, live or recorded. The control helped, slightly. What it didn't help was the hole Isabella left behind, the way the penthouse felt like a stage set instead of a home. The way Lily's cries echoed through rooms designed for entertaining 50 people but now housing just one broken man and one fragile infant. Marcus hired nanny number 4, Rebecca, through an elite agency that charged obscene fees and promised thorough vetting. She seemed competent enough during the trial week, followed protocols, kept detailed feeding logs, maintained professional boundaries, but she had the warmth of a clinical chart. She held Lily like she was handling medical equipment, correctly, safely, but without any real tenderness. Lily ate enough to survive but never seemed content, never stopped crying for long. Marcus told himself it was fine. Babies cry. That's what they do. As long as Lily was fed and clean and safe, that's all that mattered. He was lying to himself, and on some level, he knew it. Then Rebecca announced she was moving to Boston for a better opportunity. 2 weeks' notice, very professional, very cold. She'd already accepted another position, which is how Marcus ended up interviewing replacement nannies while juggling a merger negotiation and pretending his life wasn't falling apart. That's when the agency sent Carmen Rodriguez. Carmen arrived for the interview wearing a clean but obviously second-hand blazer, carrying a folder of references in hands that trembled slightly. She was 28 years old, Latina, with dark hair pulled into a practical bun and eyes that held both exhaustion and determination. Marcus conducted the interview in his home office while Rebecca watched Lily upstairs. He barely looked up from Carmen's resume as he ran through standard questions. "You have child care experience?" "Yes, sir. I worked at Little Angels Daycare for 3 years. Then as a private nanny for the Chen family for 2 years before they relocated to London." "Medical training?" "CPR certified, first aid certified, completed a pediatric care course online." "Why did you leave the daycare?" Carmen hesitated. "The pay wasn't enough to support my daughter and cover my mother's medical bills. I needed something that paid better." Marcus glanced up briefly. "You have a daughter?" "Yes, sir. Sophia. She's 4 years old." "And her father?" "Not in the picture, sir." Marcus nodded, returning to the resume. Standard single mother situation. He'd heard variations of this story from half the candidates the agency sent. "What happened with your mother?" he asked, more out of procedural thoroughness than actual curiosity. Carmen's voice softened. "Breast cancer, stage 3. She fought for 18 months. She passed away last year." "I'm sorry," Marcus said automatically, the same way he'd said it to hundreds of people who'd offered condolences about Isabella. "Thank you, sir." Marcus shuffled papers. "The Chen family gave you a strong reference. Why aren't you following them to London?" "They offered," Carmen said quietly, "but Sophia's enrolled in a good public school here. She has friends, stability, and honestly, sir, I can't afford the kind of visa complications that would come with moving internationally. I need to stay here close to my support system." "Which is?" "My aunt. She helps with Sophia when I'm working." Marcus made a note. Single mother, limited family support, financially stressed. The agency probably presented her as someone who'd be grateful for the job and unlikely to cause problems. He moved on to the critical part. "I need to be very clear about expectations. My daughter Lily is 7 months old. She was premature. She has some feeding difficulties. The previous nannies didn't work out. I need someone who will follow protocols exactly, maintain detailed logs, and understand that I have cameras throughout the penthouse." Carmen met his eyes directly. "I understand, sir." "I'm not looking for someone who wants to bond with my daughter," Marcus continued, his voice harder than he intended. "I'm looking for someone who can keep her alive, fed, and safe while I work. Professional distance is important. Do you understand?" Something flickered across Carmen's face. Sadness, maybe pity, but she simply nodded. "Yes, sir." "The pay is $75,000 annually, plus health insurance. You'll work Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Weekends off unless I have a business trip, in which case I'll need weekend coverage with advance notice. You'll get your own room if needed for overnight stays." "That's very generous, sir." It's competitive, Marcus corrected. I expect professionalism in return. No visitors, no social media posts, no sharing information about this household with anyone. Breach of privacy results in immediate termination and legal action. Are we clear? Crystal clear, sir. Marcus stood, signaling the interview's end. The agency will run your background check. If everything comes back clean, you can start Monday. Carmen stood as well, extending her hand. Thank you for this opportunity, Mr. Holbrook. I promise I'll take excellent care of Lily. Marcus shook her hand briefly. Her grip was firm, but her palm was rough, the hands of someone used to hard work, and showed her out. He didn't think about her again until Monday morning. Carmen's first week went smoothly, at least on paper. She arrived exactly on time each morning, prepared bottles according to the specifications from Lily's pediatrician, logged every feeding and diaper change in meticulous detail, and maintained the kind of professional efficiency Marcus had explicitly requested. But something was different. Marcus noticed it Tuesday evening while reviewing security footage from his office downtown. He'd gotten into the habit of checking the feeds periodically, not obsessively, he told himself, just responsibly. On screen, Carmen was feeding Lily in the nursery's rocking chair. Nothing unusual about that. But instead of holding the bottle at the prescribed angle while maintaining neutral silence like Rebecca had done, Carmen was humming. Marcus turned up the volume, a Spanish lullaby, soft and melodic. Carmen swayed gently as she sang, her face close to Lily's, murmuring words between verses. That's it, Preciosa. Nice and slow, you're doing so well. Lily's eyes were locked on Carmen's face, wide and focused in a way Marcus had never seen before. He told himself it didn't matter. As long as Lily was eating, the method was irrelevant. But he kept watching. Wednesday's footage showed Carmen on the floor with Lily, doing what appeared to be tummy time exercises. She'd placed colorful toys just out of Lily's reach, encouraging her to stretch toward them. Come on, mi amor, you can do it. Look at how strong you are. Lily kicked her legs, making frustrated baby noises. Carmen laughed, actually laughed, and moved the toy closer. There you go, I knew you could reach it. Thursday, Carmen brought a small photo album. Marcus zoomed in on the feed and saw pictures of a little girl, Sophia, he assumed, at various ages. Carmen held the album where Lily could see it, pointing at pictures. This is Sophia when she was a baby, just like you. And this is her first birthday. One day you'll have birthdays too, with cake and presents and people who love you so much. Marcus's jaw tightened. He'd specifically said no bonding. But Lily was eating better. The logs showed it. More ounces per bottle, less spit up, fewer interrupted feedings. Her weight was climbing back toward the pediatrician's target range. He told himself to let it go. Friday evening he came home earlier than usual, a rare occurrence, and heard singing from the nursery. Not humming this time, full verses in Spanish with a voice that carried genuine warmth. Duerme, duerme, negrito, que tu mamá está en el campo, negrito. Marcus stood outside the nursery door, listening. Something in his chest felt uncomfortably tight. Inside, Carmen held Lily against her shoulder, patting her back in a gentle rhythm. Lily's eyes were drooping, her tiny fist clutching Carmen's shirt. You're getting so sleepy, Carmen murmured. That's good, Preciosa. You had a big day. Growing is hard work, isn't it? Marcus cleared his throat. Carmen's head whipped around, eyes wide. She stood quickly, adjusting Lily in her arms. Mr. Holbrook, I didn't hear you come in. I came home early, he said stiffly. Is everything all right? Yes, sir. Everything's fine. Lily just finished her bottle and I was getting her ready for her nap. Marcus looked at his daughter. She was definitely drowsy, content in a way that seemed different. You were singing, he said. Oh. Carmen's cheeks flushed. Yes, sir. I'm sorry if that was too loud. It helps her relax. I didn't say it was a problem. Oh, okay. Carmen shifted awkwardly. Would you like to put her down for her nap? I can show you the routine we've been. No, Marcus cut her off. You handle it. I have calls to make. He turned and walked away before he had to confront whatever emotion was clawing up his throat. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. That night, alone in Pompey's bedroom, Marcus pulled up the day's footage on his tablet. He watched Carmen sing Lily to sleep, watched the way his daughter's face relaxed in Carmen's arms, watched the gentle way Carmen laid Lily in the crib, tucking the blanket just so, lingering for a moment with her hand on Lily's back. Professional distance, he'd said, but what Lily needed wasn't professional distance. Marcus closed the tablet without finishing the footage. He couldn't let himself think about what Lily needed, because if he started thinking about that, he'd have to admit that he was failing her in ways money couldn't fix. So he did what he always did. He opened his laptop and buried himself in work until exhaustion dragged him under. 2 weeks passed and Marcus found himself doing something he'd never done before, watching the security feeds not to catch problems, but to see his daughter. He told himself he was monitoring Carmen's performance, ensuring compliance, verifying that protocols were being followed, but that was a lie. The truth was that the only time Lily seemed real to him seemed like an actual living person instead of a painful reminder of everything he'd lost, was when he watched her through Carmen's eyes. On the screen, Lily was thriving. Carmen had introduced what she called play routines. Every morning after breakfast, she'd spread a soft blanket on the nursery floor and spend 30 minutes doing exercises the pediatrician had recommended but Marcus had never actually implemented. Bicycle legs, gentle arm stretches, tummy time with increasingly challenging toys. "Look at you getting so strong," Carmen would say, her face glowing with genuine pride. "Your mama would be so proud of how hard you're working." Marcus's chest tightened every time Carmen mentioned Isabella. She did it naturally, casually, like it was the most normal thing in the world to talk to a baby about her dead mother. "Your mama loved music," Carmen said one afternoon, holding Lily near the untouched piano. "See this? She used to play beautiful songs. One day maybe you'll play too." Marcus had stood frozen in his office doorway, watching this scene unfold in person rather than on camera. Carmen hadn't noticed him. She was too focused on Lily, running tiny fingers across the piano keys, letting Lily hear the sounds. He'd walked away without saying anything. The feeding logs showed remarkable progress. Lily was gaining weight steadily, hitting developmental milestones early. At her last pediatric appointment, the doctor had been openly surprised. "Whatever you're doing is working," Dr. Patel had said, reviewing the charts. "She's thriving. Her muscle tone is improving, her weight is perfect, and her engagement levels are exactly where we want them. Keep it up." Marcus had nodded, accepting credit for changes he had nothing to do with. That night, he'd pulled up footage from the appointment. Carmen had gone with them. Marcus had needed her there to handle Lily while he took calls in the waiting room. On screen, he watched Carmen answer the doctor's questions about feeding schedules, sleep patterns, developmental activities. "She's doing wonderfully," Carmen had said, beaming. "She's such a fighter, gets stronger every single day." Dr. Patel had smiled. "She's lucky to have such attentive care." Carmen had glanced toward the waiting room where Marcus sat on his phone, oblivious. Something sad flickered across her face before she smiled again. "We're doing our best." Marcus closed the laptop. The following Monday, he came home at noon, truly unusual, because he'd forgotten files he needed for an afternoon presentation. The penthouse was quiet. He grabbed the files from his office and was heading back out when he heard Carmen's voice from the nursery. She wasn't talking to Lily. She was on the phone, her voice low and strained. "Tia, I know, I'm trying. The rent is due Thursday and I'm still short. Can you—" A pause. "I understand. You've already helped so much. No, don't worry about it. I'll figure something out." Another pause. "Sophia's fine. She keeps asking why I'm working so much. I told her it's so we can stay in our apartment." Carmen's voice cracked slightly. I wish I could give her more. She deserves more than me working all the time and scraping by." Marcus stood in the hallway, listening to something he wasn't meant to hear. "I know, I'm grateful for this job, I really am. Mr. Holbrook pays well. It's just everything else costs so much. Sophia needs new shoes, her school has a field trip coming up, and the car is making that noise again." A bitter laugh. "Sometimes I feel like I'm drowning and nobody knows I'm underwater." Lily made a small sound. "I have to go, Tia. Lily's waking up. I love you too. Give Sophia a kiss for me." Marcus heard movement. Carmen standing, probably picking up Lily. He quietly moved back to his office and waited 5 minutes before walking past the nursery with deliberately loud footsteps. Carmen appeared in the doorway, Lily on her hip. "Mr. Holbrook, I didn't know you were home." "Forgot some files," he said curtly. "Everything okay here?" "Perfect, sir. We were just about to have lunch." He nodded and left, but that conversation stayed with him, wormed into his thoughts during meetings, distracted him during conference calls. Carmen was struggling financially despite the salary he paid her. She had a daughter who needed things. She was working herself to exhaustion, and she never let any of it show when she was caring for Lily. That took a kind of strength Marcus wasn't sure he possessed. 3 days later, everything changed. Marcus was in Denver for what should have been a 2-day trip. Final negotiations on acquiring a cybersecurity startup, critical meetings, signatures needed, but the target company's CEO got food poisoning Wednesday night and the Thursday meetings were canceled. Marcus's assistant booked him on the first flight home Thursday afternoon. He didn't tell Carmen, didn't see the point. She wasn't expecting him until Friday evening. He arrived at the penthouse at 6:47 p.m., tie loosened, carrying his briefcase, already mentally preparing for the emails he needed to send before tomorrow's rescheduled video calls. The penthouse was quiet, too quiet. Carmen's shift officially ended at 6, but she often stayed a few minutes late to finish Lily's evening routine. He'd told her that was fine, even appreciated, one less thing he had to handle when he got home. He set down his briefcase and pulled out his phone, opening the security app out of habit. The nursery camera showed an empty crib. His heart lurched. He switched to other cameras. Living room, empty. Kitchen, empty. Guest room, empty. Where was Lily? He was about to call Carmen's cell when he heard it, faint, coming from down the hall, crying. Not Lily's cry. An adult crying, trying to be quiet but failing. Marcus moved toward the sound, his pulse accelerating. It was coming from Carmen's room, the small bedroom near the nursery that he'd offered for overnight stays, but she rarely used because she preferred going home to Sophia. The door was cracked open. He pushed it wider. What he saw made time stop. Carmen sat on the floor, back against the bed, legs stretched out. Lily was cradled in her arms, nestled against Carmen's bare chest, nursing. Carmen's blouse was unbuttoned, her nursing bra pulled aside. Lily's tiny hand rested against Carmen's skin, her mouth working steadily. Small sounds of contentment mixing with Carmen's quiet sobs. "I'm so sorry," Carmen whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry, Preciosa. I know I shouldn't. I know this isn't right. But you wouldn't eat. You kept refusing the bottle and you were burning up and I got so scared." She broke off, noticing Marcus in the doorway. Her face went white. "Mr. Holbrook." Marcus couldn't speak, couldn't move. His brain was trying to process what he was seeing, but every thought collided into the next. His daughter, nursing from his employee, Carmen's tears, Lily's peaceful face, the intimacy of the scene, the wrongness, the rightness, the confusion crashing over him like a physical wave. "I can explain," Carmen said, her voice shaking violently. She made no move to cover herself, to pull Lily away. "Please, sir, let me explain." "What?" Marcus's voice came out strangled. He cleared his throat, tried again. "What are you doing?" "She's sick," Carmen said quickly. "She's had a fever since this afternoon. I tried calling you, but it went to voicemail. I called the pediatrician and they said to push fluids, but she wouldn't take the bottle. She kept refusing, getting weaker, and her fever kept climbing. I gave her infant Tylenol, but it wasn't bringing it down fast enough, and I was so scared she was going to... Her voice cracked completely. Lily pulled back slightly, making a small sound. Carmen automatically adjusted her position, and Lily latched again, contentedly. Marcus watched his daughter, his fragile, premature daughter, who'd spent her first month fighting to survive, nursing peacefully like it was the most natural thing in the world. "You're breastfeeding my daughter," he said, his voice flat with shock. "I know how this looks," Carmen whispered. "I know I should have waited for you, should have taken her to urgent care, should have done anything else. But, sir..." She was fading. She wasn't crying anymore, wasn't fighting. She was just giving up. And my body... She swallowed hard. "I still produce milk. For Sophia. I've been weaning her, but it's slow. And when Lily wouldn't eat, when I could feel her getting weaker in my arms, I couldn't watch another baby slip away from me." Marcus's mind snagged on those words. Another baby? Carmen's face crumpled. My son, 3 years ago. He was born premature, like Lily. 29 weeks. He lived for 6 days. My milk didn't come in fast enough, and he couldn't... She couldn't finish. Marcus stood there, his whole world tilting sideways. Carmen had lost a child, a premature son, 6 days old, and now she was holding his premature daughter, feeding her, saving her, while crying like her heart was breaking all over again. "I'll leave," Carmen said quietly, her voice steadier now, resigned. "I know you have to fire me. I crossed every line. I violated your trust. I'll finish feeding her so she doesn't get upset, and then I'll go. I'm so sorry, Mr. Holbrook. I'm so sorry." Lily's hand flexed against Carmen's skin, her eyes drooping closed. Marcus looked at his daughter, really looked at her for the first time in months. Her cheeks had color, her breathing was steady, her tiny body was relaxed, trusting, safe, everything the doctors said she needed, everything he couldn't give her. His throat closed up. "How long has she been sick?" he asked hoarsely. "Since around 3, Carmen said. Low-grade fever at first. By 5, it was 101.2. That's when I called you." Marcus pulled out his phone. 5 missed calls from Carmen, 3 voicemails he'd ignored because he was in meetings. Shame hit him like a punch to the gut. "Why didn't you take her to urgent care?" he asked. "I was about to," Carmen said. "I had her dressed, had the diaper bag packed, but she was so weak, Mr. Holbrook, so limp. And I was scared that if I put her in the car, if I drove across town, if I sat in a waiting room for an hour..." "You were scared she wouldn't make it," Marcus finished. Carmen nodded, tears falling silently. Lily had stopped nursing, fallen asleep against Carmen's chest. Her face was peaceful, her breathing even. Marcus walked forward slowly as if approaching something fragile. He knelt beside Carmen and reached out, touching Lily's forehead with the back of his hand. Still warm, but not burning, not dangerous. "You saved her," he said quietly. Carmen's breath hitched. "I did what any mother would do." "You're not her mother." The words came out harder than he intended. Carmen flinched, but Marcus continued, his voice barely above a whisper. "You're not her mother, but you loved her enough to save her anyway." Carmen looked at him, eyes swimming with tears. "I need to think," Marcus said, standing abruptly. Just stay here, don't leave, don't move, let her sleep." He walked out before Carmen could respond. Marcus didn't sleep that night. He sat in his office, door closed, staring at his phone. Carmen had texted once, around midnight. "Lily's fever broke. She's sleeping peacefully. I'll stay until you're ready to talk." He should have felt relief, gratitude. His daughter was safe. Instead, he felt something darker coiling in his chest, something that felt uncomfortably like jealousy. Carmen had done what he couldn't. She'd recognized Lily was in danger. She'd made a choice, an impossible, boundary-crossing choice, and saved his daughter's life while he was in Denver, ignoring phone calls. She'd held Lily with a tenderness he couldn't access, fed her from her own body, cried over her like she mattered more than anything in the world. And Lily had responded, had trusted her, had survived because of her. Marcus was supposed to be grateful, but all he felt was the crushing weight of his own inadequacy. By morning, jealousy had twisted itself into something uglier. Resentment dressed up as righteous anger. At 7:00 a.m., he walked to Carmen's room. She was awake, sitting in the rocking chair with Lily, now dressed properly, both of them humming softly. "Mr. Holbrook," Carmen said quietly, "I was just about to—" "We need to talk," Marcus interrupted. "Now." Carmen's face went pale. She stood carefully, holding Lily against her shoulder. "Of course, sir." They moved to the living room. Carmen sat on the edge of the couch, Lily in her arms. Marcus stood by the window, arms crossed. "What you did yesterday was completely inappropriate," he said, his voice cold and controlled. "You crossed professional boundaries in a way that's frankly disturbing." Carmen's eyes widened. "Sir, I explained—" "I don't care about your explanation," Marcus cut her off. "You made a decision about my daughter's body without my consent. You exposed her to potential health risks. You acted like you had rights to her that you absolutely don't have." "She was dying," Carmen said, her voice shaking. "Her fever was—" "You should have taken her to the hospital. You should have kept calling me. You should have done literally anything except what you did. I was terrified she wouldn't survive the trip. That wasn't your call to make." Marcus's voice rose. "She's not your daughter, Carmen. She's mine, and you completely violated my trust." Lily started to fuss, picking up on the tension. Carmen automatically rocked her, soothing her, and that simple gesture made Marcus's anger spike higher. Even now, Lily turned to Carmen for comfort, not to him. "I think it's best if you leave," Marcus said flatly, effective immediately. Carmen's face crumpled. "Mr. Holbrook, please. I'll pay you through the end of the month. I'll provide a reference letter for your next position, but I need you out of this house today." "Sir, please, I need this job. My daughter, my rent—" "I'll include a severance package, 2 months' salary. That should give you time to find something else." "It's not about the money," Carmen's voice broke. "It's about Lily. She needs proper care from appropriate people, not someone who crosses lines like this." Carmen stood, tears streaming down her face. Lily was crying now too, reaching for Carmen's face with tiny hands. "You're making a mistake," Carmen whispered. "Not for me, for her." "Get out of my house," Marcus said. Carmen's whole body shook. She kissed Lily's forehead gently, whispering something in Spanish Marcus couldn't hear. Then she handed the crying baby to Marcus. Lily immediately arched her back, wailing, reaching toward Carmen. Carmen grabbed her purse, her eyes never leaving Lily's face. "I'm sorry, Preciosa," she said, her voice breaking. "I'm so sorry." She walked out. The door closed, and Lily screamed. For 3 days, Lily barely ate. Marcus hired an emergency nanny through the agency. Older, experienced, impeccably professional. She did everything right. Proper bottle angles, exact temperatures, perfect schedules. Lily refused everything. She'd take an ounce, maybe 2, then turn her head away. She cried constantly, not the angry newborn crying of before, but something worse. A heartbroken, exhausted crying that sounded like grief. By day 4, Dr. Patel called Marcus into the office. "She's lost 8 ounces, the doctor said, concern etched on her face. "That's significant for a baby her size. What changed?" Marcus couldn't answer. "Mr. Holbrook," Dr. Patel said gently, "babies form attachments. When those attachments are suddenly broken, especially at this developmental stage, it can trigger what we call failure to thrive. She's not just being fussy, she's mourning." "Mourning," Marcus repeated dully. "Where's Carmen? She was so good with Lily." "She doesn't work for me anymore." Dr. Patel's eyes narrowed. "When did she leave?" 4 days ago. That's when Lily stopped eating." The words hung in the air like an accusation. That night, Marcus's head of household staff, Helen, who'd worked for him for 15 years, knocked on his office door. "I need to speak with you," she said, her tone brooking no argument. Marcus looked up, exhausted. What is it? You fired the wrong person, Helen said bluntly, and that baby is paying the price. Helen, no sir, you're going to listen. I've worked for you long enough to speak plainly. Carmen didn't do anything wrong. She saved your daughter's life, and you fired her because— Helen paused, then said it anyway. Because she made you feel like you failed. Marcus's jaw clenched. You did fail, Mr. Holbrook, not at business, not at building wealth, but at being present for that little girl. Carmen didn't replace you. She just filled the space you left empty. That's enough. It's not enough until you hear it. Lily is upstairs right now, refusing to eat, crying herself to sleep, looking for the one person who actually showed up for her, and you sent that person away because your pride couldn't handle the truth. Helen's voice softened. I loved Mrs. Isabella. She was like a daughter to me, and I know she would be heartbroken if she saw you right now, not because you're grieving, because you're letting grief turn you into someone who hurts the people trying to help. She left before Marcus could respond. That night, Marcus went to the nursery. The new nanny had gone home for the evening. Lily was asleep in her crib, but even in sleep, her face looked drawn, exhausted. He noticed something tucked in the corner of the crib, a small stuffed bunny he'd never seen before. He picked it up and found a note pinned to it in Carmen's handwriting. For Lily, this was my son Miguel's. He only had it for 6 days, but I like to think it gave him comfort. I hope it helps Lily remember that she's loved, even when the people who love her have to say goodbye. I'll never forget her. See, Marcus's knees buckled. He sank to the floor beside the crib, the bunny clutched in his hands, and finally let himself break. He cried, for Isabella, for the baby boy Carmen lost, for his daughter who was suffering because of his pride, for all the months he'd wasted running from the pain instead of facing it. And when the tears finally stopped, he knew exactly what he had to do. Marcus found Carmen's address in her employment file, a modest apartment building in a working-class neighborhood 40 minutes from his penthouse. He'd never been to this part of the city. His driver looked uncomfortable as they pulled up to the weathered building. Wait here, Marcus said. He climbed 3 flights of stairs, no elevator, and found apartment 3F. He could hear a child's voice inside, singing in Spanish. He knocked. The door opened to reveal an older woman, Carmen's aunt, he assumed. Her expression went cold the instant she recognized him. You have nerve coming here, she said in accented English. I need to speak with Carmen. She doesn't want to speak with you. Please, it's about Lily. You made your decision about Lily when you threw Carmen out like trash. I know, I was wrong. Please, I just need 5 minutes. The aunt studied him with sharp eyes, then called over her shoulder, Carmen, someone here for you. Carmen appeared holding Sophia's hand. Her face was thinner, exhausted. When she saw Marcus, something painful flashed across her features. What do you want? She asked quietly. To apologize. To beg you to come back. No. The flatness of her response shocked him. Carmen, please, Lily won't eat. She's lost weight. The doctor says she's grieving. That's not my problem anymore, Carmen said, but her voice shook. You made that very clear. I was wrong, I was jealous and scared, and I took it out on you, instead of admitting that you saved my daughter's life. You humiliated me. You made me feel like a criminal for caring about a child. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sophia tugged on Carmen's hand. Mama, who is he? Nobody, baby, Carmen said softly. That word, nobody, hit Marcus harder than any insult could have. What do you want me to say? Carmen's voice cracked. That I forgive you? That I'll come back and take care of Lily while you ignore her and throw me away again the next time I make you uncomfortable? I won't. You will, because you don't see her. You see your guilt. You see your dead wife, but you don't see your daughter. Marcus pulled out his phone with shaking hands. He showed Carmen a photo from this morning. Lily in her crib, listless, the bunny tucked beside her. Carmen's breath hitched. She holds it every night, Marcus said quietly. She won't let anyone take it away. The new nanny tried and Lily screamed for 20 minutes. Tears slipped down Carmen's cheeks. "I can't fix this without you," Marcus admitted. "I don't know how. I've spent 7 months running from being a father because I was terrified I'd fail, and you showed me I was already failing. That's why I fired you. Not because you did something wrong, because you did everything right and I couldn't stand seeing it." Carmen wiped her face. "What do you want from me?" "Come back. Not as an employee, as family. You and Sophia both. I'll make room. I'll restructure my schedule. I'll actually show up. I swear to you, I will do better." "I can't trust that." "Then don't trust it. Test it. Come back on a trial basis. If I slip back into old patterns, you leave. But please, Carmen, Lily needs you, and I—" His voice broke. "I need to learn how to be her father, and I don't think I can do that without you showing me how." Carmen came back the next day, Sophia in tow. When Carmen walked into the nursery, Lily was in her crib, barely moving. But the moment she heard Carmen's voice, her head turned. "Hola, preciosa," Carmen whispered, tears already falling. "I'm here. I came back." Lily's face crumpled, and she started crying, but this time reaching up with both arms. Carmen lifted her, and Lily buried her face in Carmen's neck, small body shaking with sobs that sounded like relief. Marcus watched from the doorway as Carmen rocked his daughter, whispering in Spanish, promising she wouldn't leave again. Sophia peeked around Carmen's legs, shy. "Sophia," Marcus said gently, kneeling to her level. "Would you like to meet Lily?" Sophia nodded. Carmen sat in the rocking chair, and Sophia climbed up carefully. "She's so small," Sophia whispered, touching Lily's hand. Lily's fingers wrapped around Sophia's, and Sophia giggled. "She likes me." "Of course she does," Carmen said softly. "You're going to be her big sister now." Over the following weeks, the penthouse transformed. Marcus canceled trips, rescheduled meetings, worked from home 3 days a week. He was clumsy at first, mixing bottles wrong, forgetting diaper cream, panicking when Lily cried, but Carmen patiently taught him. "Like this," she'd say, adjusting his hold. "See, she just wants to feel secure." Sophia became Lily's devoted guardian, bringing toys, singing songs she learned at school, reporting every milestone to Marcus with breathless excitement. 2 months later, Marcus found Carmen in the living room, reading Sophia a bedtime story with Lily asleep in her lap. "Can I talk to you?" he asked quietly. Carmen nodded, carefully transferring Lily to her portable bassinet. Marcus sat across from her, nervous in a way board meetings never made him. "I want to make this official," he said. "Not just the job, all of it." Carmen tilted her head, confused. Marcus pulled out papers his lawyer had drawn up. Adoption papers for Sophia, and a proposal, not marriage, not yet, just a commitment that you and Sophia and Lily are my family now, legally, permanently, no more contracts, no more employee status, just us. Carmen's hands flew to her mouth. "You don't have to answer now," Marcus said quickly. "Take all the time you need, but I want you to know, you saved my daughter. You saved me, and I don't want to spend another day pretending you're anything less than the person who made us whole again." Carmen was crying, but nodding. "Yes," she whispered, "yes." Sophia cheered from the doorway where she'd been eavesdropping. "Does this mean we're really staying?" "We're really staying," Carmen confirmed. Marcus picked up Lily, who'd woken at the noise. The 4 of them sat together on the couch, a family that grief had tried to destroy and love had rebuilt. "Thank you," Marcus whispered to Carmen, "for not giving up on us." "Thank you for finally showing up," Carmen replied. And in that moment, with Lily's tiny hand wrapped around his finger and Sophia chattering excitedly about their new family, Marcus understood what Isabella had been trying to tell him all along. Love isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up even when you're broken and letting the people who care about you help put the pieces back together. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that family isn't just about blood. It's about who shows up when it matters most. Comment below what moment hit you hardest. See you in the next story.